You are tuned in to Iggy's Fantasy and Betting, the podcast that puts trophies on your mantle and money in your pocket. Now, your host, coming to you high from the Rocky Mountains, IDP Iggy.
Oh yeah, hello and welcome. August 4th, we're not very far from football at all, my friends. I'm talking actual football. I don't care what people say about the preseason. There's people out there trying to get their career, trying to make sure they get this one. Some of them are like this, they get their name on their jersey, they get their family to come see them. You know, they're wearing the logo. I've been fortunate enough to have friends that have actually played in the preseason, and that's pretty cool, man. And, you know, some of them might know that this is their one and only opportunity to go out there and, you know, make a roster, make a practice squad, make something. You know, you can go from a practice squad and go on to have a very successful NFL career. So the preseason's upon us. Pittsburgh, Dallas. Pittsburgh's got, 4 Hall of Famers going in. You know, Dallas has Jimmy Johnson going in. One of the most beloved Cowboys probably of all time, man. Including Landry. Switzer's probably disrespected. You know, I'll say this: the older I've gotten, the more respect I have for Barry Switzer, man. Growing up in Dallas-Fort Worth, you know, they got the Cowboys memorabilia everywhere. You got Emmett behind us. You got Troy right here on the football. You know, I was surrounded by Cowboys and Cowboys influence and Cowboys in the media. You know, I was born in the mid-'80s, so Cowboys won 3 Super Bowls, you know, 95, 94, 95, 93, 92. So it's an interesting thing. And so Barry Switzer just, you know, he got really knocked. Everybody said he's just over there coattailing it. Like he doesn't know football, as if he didn't take multiple teams to national titles at Oklahoma. You know, that's not easy, but, you know, it's I always remember him saying, coaching's not difficult. You guys are making it seem difficult. He's like, I can be a head coach. The problem is dealing with you guys, the media. They were really on him. They tried to say he was a dummy. You know, and of course I just went with that being a younger kid and stuff. But as I've gotten older, I've really appreciated Barry Switzer, and I really appreciate the way he goes about his business. I think if I was a head coach, you know, I've had asshole head coaches, and I've had head coaches that barely even get on me and ask me how I'm doing. And, you know, just one coach, I disappeared one practice, I just disappeared, and he's just like, well, don't do that. Let me know where you're going. You know, this is as an adult, you know, and he was like, just let me know where you're at. You know, we all got our problems here. So I'll never forget that, man. And I think Barry Switzer was more of that kind of coach, and it's probably misunderstood. But we're getting a little out of hand here. This is Where's the D Wednesday. You know, that was a great defense. They got primetime Sanders over there. Barry Switzer did, and they got the job done. But because we got a job to do, and we're going to do it, baby. And we're going to be talking about defense today. I went looking on the props, man. I'm gonna start joining more books. One of my books just switched over, so I'm kind of getting more familiarized with that. And then I've got some opportunities to get some deposit bonuses. That's what we do. You know, you join the page, and I'll talk to you more about that. But that's my philosophy. That's what I'm going into. And it's interesting. They've pulled a lot of the player props. They just pulled the most tackle props. That's over as well, huh? So they must be in a state of change. I was literally just looking at the most tackle props, and they pulled them. That's very interesting. So I don't know what's going on. They may be closing down some of their bets on some of these websites. Keep in mind it's Wednesday. The preseason is, you know, just right around the corner. And it's going to be very interesting. But no worries, not to do. I'm still writing the weekly or the daily, defensive articles, highlighting IDPs, highlighting strengths of the defense, talking about who's been brought in, talking about who you can start in your fantasy football rosters, including deeper leagues, breaking down the best position group record from last year, and essentially why I think they're going to be where I have them ranked. For example, yesterday's Minnesota Vikings, Daniela Hunter coming back. Hello. And it's so 14 Minnesota. They went 7-9 last year, but if you remember, they went out really strong. They were playing really great at the end of the season. Had a lot of rookies on that defense, and they have made an overhaul to their defensive roster. The Vikings are going to be much improved on that side of the ball. You got Mike Zimmer, first off. Head coach, yes. Defensive mind, great. He's long been considered one of the great minds. Pretty sure he worked with Bill Parcells in the Dallas Cowboy era. That should tell you all you need to know. Bill Parcells is a great defensive mind. And look at Bill Belichick. And you can come here and you can see that Mike Zimmer, he knows what he's doing. He's building a great defensive roster with studs across all three levels of the defense. Listen to who they just brought in. Patrick Peterson, Sheldon Richardson, who said publicly he turned down more money so that he could come back and play with Mike Zimmer. That's pretty telling. A veteran saying, money's always good. I'm probably in the last year or two of my career, but I want to go play with somebody that I enjoy, bringing it back to Barry Switzer, bringing it back to my coach, that I had when I was in Santa Ana. It matters. I told you guys on the 200th episode what makes fantasy football so special is the relationships. And football is no different in any way, shape, or form. It is what makes everything so special. It's what makes everything go. It makes putting in 12 plus hours for 6 months out of the year worth it. It's the relationships. And Sheldon Richardson point blank told you that. He's like, I'll go. And he's not even on the starting lineup. He probably could have been a starter in a lot of NFL teams. He went to Minnesota because he wanted to be with Mike Zimmer. All right. We got Stephen Weatherly. We got Brashad Breeland, Super Bowl winner. Nick Vigil. Dalvin Tomlinson, big in. They made sure to come and get him. That was a big thing. And Xavier Woods, brought in from the Cowboys. Good safety, starting safety for the Minnesota Vikings. Lining up next to Harrison Smith. He is going to be a very improved player, and he had some good years in Dallas. Okay, he got blamed for a lot of stuff down there, but I think he's going to improve as he's in Minnesota. When we're looking at Daniela Hunter, these are the fantasy football starters across any format, as far as I'm concerned. Daniela Hunter, Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr, Harrison Smith, the most underrated DB. Xavier Woods and Nick Vigil in deeper leagues. They're not necessarily starters in like your average 3 leagues, 3 IDP starters. But if you're playing in 5, 6, or with position-specific IDPs, Xavier Woods and Nick Vigil will be good to go. So I'm just going to read this one to you. Like I said, the good thing about these articles is every one of these articles, almost anybody in the world can read under 5 minutes. I'm not trying to just overwhelm you and just put all this technical information on you and just give you a bunch of information so I can throw a bunch of ads into my articles. That's not my style. I'm giving you something that you can read in 5 minutes, literally while you're waiting on the bus, literally while you're just using the restroom, while you're doing anything. If you're out for lunch and you're waiting for that order to come in and you got in early, you can pop this up on Iggy's Fantasy and Betting, go to the article section and get it done. You can also check it out on Medium and also on King Fantasy Sports. We're loading up all articles on all 3 places, so no reason for you not to be able to find it. And real quick, here, we're about to read it right now. If somebody's really ambitious, they can time me. And I'm not a fast reader. The Minnesota Vikings 2021 defensive roster looks nothing like their 2020 roster. For starters, their best IDP, Daniela Hunter, has returned from surgery and is ready to fulfill his hype as one of the best pass rushers in the game. He will be joined by defensive lineman Dalvin Tomlinson, whom the Vikings spent big money on. Also, defensive lineman Sheldon Richardson declined more money to play with a good unit and to play for Coach Mike Zimmer, long regarded one of the great defensive minds in the league. IDP starters Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr are hoping for a healthy season, and will have the veteran presence of linebacker Nick Vigil. I think it's Vigil or Vigil. I don't know how you pronounce that one. Rounding out the starting linebackers. This is one of the better starting 4-3 unit linebacker or 4-3 linebacker units in the league. However, there's a significant drop off in the backup unit. Health will be crucial to their success. The strength of the defense and the most reliable Viking for a decade will be captured in the secondary. Defensive back hitman Harrison Smith has long been one of the most undervalued players in the NFL. The former All-Pro delivers at the line of scrimmage, in the running game, in the passing game, and roams sideline to sideline. He's a top 5 safety, and he has been for the past 9 years. Smith will be joined by future Hall of Fame inductee defensive back Patrick Peterson, which will have a huge improvement which will be a huge improvement for their secondary. Defensive back Xavier Woods will be in the free safety position and will be asked to cover the NFC North's elite tight ends and pass-catching running backs. 2 of the 4 members of the secondary are new, and it could take a few weeks for them to develop rhythm, but they will have one of the most complete units in the NFL once they do. And once again, that's why I said the DB unit is so great. Patrick Peterson is going to come in. He's not what he was a decade ago, but he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. Xavier Woods is going to come in, and he's going to cover tight ends. He's going to cover that safety field. He's going to keep the deep threat whenever they're blitzing and doing packages and so forth. He'll be the safety guy, all right? He's going to be asked to do quite a bit. And that's just what it is for you. Like I said, you can check it out on Iggy's Fantasy and Betting if you want. I would love comments. Just let me know just how you feel about it. But that was a quick read. I broke down the defense for you, told you some very important names at all 3 levels, why I think they're going to succeed. Mike Zimmer is a big part of that. But really and truthfully, they just weren't healthy. I mean, when you lose, arguably 2 or 3 of your best players. Now, Eric Wilson came in and filled the void and got himself a pretty good paycheck, and he's playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he will have a great season down there, but he's just not a different style. Kendricks is a thumper, if y'all remember that kind of late push by him, broke Aaron Rodgers' collarbone. He had a lot to say to him after that, and so he gets in there, he gets dirty, he's gonna plug a hole, he's gonna be contact. That's what your linebackers are supposed to do. They're supposed to be intimidating and kind of tell people not to come in here and, be the Ray Lewis. But if they can stay healthy, that's a big thing. But the real thing is Daniela Hunter. He will help that secondary so much. The Vikings had trouble stopping the run last year, and that was due to their linebackers not being healthy. And they also brought in Dalvin Tomlinson. That was number 1 uno, bringing in defensive tackle him. He's going to be plugging that middle of the defense. He's going to be asked to improve what was a really bad center of the defensive line. But also without Daniela Hunter, they didn't have to focus on their outside. I mean, they weren't bringing no pressure, hardly getting any sacks. So it was kind of do at will what you want. If you want to double team this person and come in with a fullback and smash the other defensive tackle, well, it's going to be pretty hard for anybody to stop runs at the line of scrimmage. You're going to be tackling people 4 or 5 yards deep every time. That's essentially what happened with them. So much improved defensive line play. Sheldon Richardson, like I say, he's not even a starter, but he's going to come in and give good minutes. I could see him getting 30 snaps a game, even though he's not a starter. So keep that in mind as well. They're going to be improved. This is a threat to the NFC North, and I think that's that's just subpar. I mean, the Vikings have been good lately. I know there's a lot of hype on the Bears, but in all honesty, I just think that the Bears are a little bit. Give them a couple more years, and we'll see where they are. You just don't get a rookie quarterback and just be great. That just doesn't happen that much. I'm sorry. That's just not the way it goes, my friends. Well, they have pulled all my NFL bets. This is a bit bizarre. Now it's just NFL teams, NFC, AFC. It's not like they're giving me much future here. That's a little bizarre. I don't like it. Let's see if I can go back even and they give me some of what we want. Because otherwise, I do have some bets. I was on Outside the Huddle yesterday, another podcast, great guys, Andy, Paul, James. You can go check them out there over there on the other side of the pond. Hence why they're called Outside the Huddle. But having said that, we did make bets, and we covered the NFC West extensively yesterday with Big Almo. It's so awesome having him on the show yesterday. But here we have it, Arizona playoffs 150 to make. This is to make the playoffs. These are some really good long-term bets I like. And It's Arizona to make the playoffs plus 150, Washington football team to make the playoffs plus 135, and Denver to make the playoffs at plus 110. So they're just a little over even for the UK crowd. And then I also like San Francisco to not make the playoffs. That's at 150 as well. So that's just where I see things opposite. Arizona making the playoffs, San Francisco making the playoffs. That's not the popular bookie line, but I think Washington and Denver, they're like on the fence about, but I think they'll make it. If you want a 4-leg, we got the Green Bay Packers, Buffalo, Kansas City, and Tampa Bay all to win. They're all negative odds to win their division. And I think that's pretty awesome to have it that way in that sense, because the only real threat, like I said, is the Vikings. Buffalo should cruise. Kansas City should cruise unless Denver improves much more than we're thinking. Tampa Bay should cruise with the Saints. Just, I don't think they're going to have the offense to compete. And then I have Seattle, if you're feeling really cheeky, win the division plus 275. I mean, they won it last year. They were 10-6. They didn't do a lot to get better, but they didn't do a lot to get worse. So, I mean, in my opinion, they should be a little better. Jordan Brooks will be a big part of that. Real quick, then we'll just close it out with some defenses on based off the fantasy last year for the charity league and how I recommend setting up defensive points. So, example, I'm just going to rattle off the top 5 scores for running back. Won't say the names even. 346, 317, 316.73, 231.3, 227.9. We go to the defenses. The Indianapolis Colts last year in this format had 347.87. The Los Angeles Rams came in second with 347.07. The Pittsburgh Steelers came in with 336.4. The Baltimore Ravens came in after that at 318.13. And the New Orleans Saints come in after that at 309.33. All right, then Washington comes in at 298.73, your first sub-300 team. Like I said, let's go back and compare that to the running backs. The lowest was 309 here. The lowest in the running backs was Aaron Jones at 227.90. Defenses have pretty good value, I would say, right? You're not like out there saying, "Whoa, they're going to give me negative points," or "Oh, they don't have a value, so they're not worth rostering." No, that doesn't. You want more than a running back gets you? Bang! Look at that, baby. That's just an easy way to tell. The wide receivers, the highest wide receivers in this non-PPR format was 267.4. You want to get to tight ends, 218 was Travis Kelce. Yeah, you want to get to linebackers, the next guy, highest position, 263, 243, 232, 205, 191. Top 5, all right? Like I said, there's a direct comparison to the wide receivers. The 5th ranked wide receiver is 208. Hardly any difference. We're talking 15, 17 points, but as far as the top, 267 to 40, 263.70. Virtually the same for the top wide receiver, top linebacker. Get back to defense. Like I said, top defensive scorer, 347.87. Indianapolis Colts held people down. Forrest Buckner, a big reason why. The only position that is more than that is the quarterback. The top quarterbacks, 508.96, 489.40, 488.36, 470.52, 458.48. These are the teams that won the, you would think Aaron Rodgers, I had him, he carried me 508 points. It's hard to replace. But my point is, in this format, you have 2 high-scoring individuals on both sides of the ball. You have the defense and you have the quarterback, and it balances out. So it's very important for the commissioners, and I think it's super relevant because hashtag where's the D? A lot of people don't like playing with defense and special teams. I'm like, why? I just showed you how you can get 347.87 points for your top defense, man. I mean, let's just take it to the 12th defense, right? So we got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the Chicago Bears, 267. New York Giants at 247.73 is the 12th ranked defense. There is no reason for you not to be playing with defense and special teams. It's really boring if you do. If you're just playing with offense, I find that really boring. You got to have at least a team defense to go research it because there's so many big plays on defense. A sack is a big play. A fumble is a big play. An interception is a big play. A field goal before halftime is a big play. A return kick for a touchdown is a big play. A punt return for 40 yards is a big play. And we need to have these points. I mean, my God, everybody, let's get the defensive right. Hashtag where's the D is Iggy. I'm really pissed off about the bets, honestly. I had some good angles. I'll tell you one bet I've already told. I said it on another show, was Zach Cunningham to lead the league in tackles. I think he had the 4th highest odds. You could go get Bobby Wagner. You could go get Blake Martinez. You could go get Roquan Smith. That's a lot of people to hedge, but that's who I envision, being in the competition for most tackles. Their offenses are okay. You know, Bobby Wagner's got a good offense, so I can't say much there. But Chicago, yeah. You know, Darius Leonard now all of a sudden, yeah. Blake Martinez, yeah. You know, so they're going to be asked to make a lot of tackles. They're going to see a lot more time of possession for the defense. You know, so it's lack of possession in that sense, I suppose. But those guys are going to be good to go for it. All right. Well, we'll just go ahead and close it out proper. I'm sorry we didn't get any bets in. Not to worry. Friday we'll cover some good angles. I'll make sure with gambling with Iggy Fridays. Today's Where's the D Wednesday, and we still talked about it. There is no reason for you not to have defense and special teams. I just broke it down. 347 points. You want that out of your league? I'd say you're kind of a boring person. All right? And it's all love. I'm just trying to convince you to play with defensive players, defensive teams. It's a lot more fun, all right? Hit me up with any questions. Remember, go check out www.iggy's Fantasy and Betting. You can subscribe to almost all platforms. Our YouTube, the Patreon information is there. You can look at the tiers, figure out which one would be right for you, get you signed up. We'll start making sure you win, get exclusive deep looks at your roster, plus betting if you're into that sort of thing, all right? Here we go, guys. Y'all have a good one. Not too shabby.